It's Thursday evening, the 11th of November, and after a couple of days of like sharing some other news than actually what I'm doing right now, which is mainly going to ground school every day. I'm sharing a little bit about what we are doing at the moment in ground school. So we are really going through various different topics that we are required to know before we actually start flying. And ultimately, we're preparing for the written test, which is going to happen next week. So there are various different topics that we need to cover, from aerodynamics over instruments to weather and so forth. So it is kind of like this like thin red line, the balance we have to keep between preparing for the test, the written test. The written test is computer based, and you have literally around 60 questions, mostly 3-option multiple choice that you need to get through in a certain time. You like under normal circumstances, you should be able to finish well before the time runs out. So the time should not be a factor. But yeah, the written test is very different to what I'm used from university. In university, most of the time we had open questions where we had to write something. We did also have some multiple choice questions like we will have right now with this FAA written test. But also the difference was really like when we were preparing ourselves for a university multiple choice test, we weren't given any sort of like sample questions to prepare. It was really expected that we would go through everything and know everything in all the different kind of like ways that you could possibly think of. And then there were like small differences between answers and multiple choice answers that you would have to detect exactly kind of like what would be the difference. Here at the FAA written test, it's actually we have already like the full sample of possible questions that we will get. So you actually literally can learn around almost like between 900 and 1,000 questions by heart, and you should be able to finish this test. So it is really kind of, it is really like learning for the test framework, which consists kind of these 1,000 questions, of which 60 will be presented to you. So you will be able to, prepare really well for the test. However, that's kind of like the other side of the medal. You can't assume that once you have passed the written test, you are really proficient with the knowledge of like aviation. It will give you some indication that you are proficient, that you have like a solid basic understanding, but it doesn't give you some sort of like a advanced knowledge. And I think there really like ultimately the flying will help you to get the theory that you heard, that is to some extent also quite abstract. You will able to like fill it with life, and that's I think where I think the whole setup as such makes a lot of sense. Because at the actual then final test exam, which is a flight, the examiner will also touch on theoretical knowledge. So you can't just kind of like say, well, the theoretical knowledge is just important for the written test. It will again be relevant also for the actual skill test. That is at the very end of the training, which will consist obviously of flying, but also of knowledge that the examiner will ask. Yeah, so that's what's happening right now. So on the one hand side, still attending the ground school, at the same time also really preparing for the written test. Again, these 900 questions to 1,000 questions are available to everybody, so you can just literally kind of like go through them and practice them again and again. And so far, I think I'm quite comfortable. I'm happy about the progress, but definitely it's going to be like a good learning weekend ahead of me. So the weekend will be filled with really getting through and getting to the bottom of these 900 to 1,000 questions, making sure that I'm not surprised by anything next week. And then hopefully next week, Thursday or so, I will have the written test and will be able to pass it. So the pass rate is 70%. 70% of 60, roughly around 45 questions you have to answer. So yeah, a bit less than that actually. So I think 42 out of 60, maybe. Yeah. So anyway, percentage rate calculations late at night. Yeah. So that I really want to pass with a good result. So that's what I'm studying right now to really get these questions and the test prepared. All right, that's it for today. Tomorrow is Friday, another day of ground school, and then obviously like an intense learning weekend. But I'm ready and looking forward to be able to finish next week our ground school and the written test. All right, that's it for today.